And I remember I was posting my footage on Twitter, and an agent actually saw some of my footage.
Mm.
And that's how I landed my first commercial agent back in Michigan.
Wow.
So you're right, off of Twitter.
And what year
Like
was this again?
I think this had to been like 2014.
Okay, so definitely before X. This is pre-X.
Oh, this was before all of that. Before TikTok, Snap. I like it was like Twitter was like the most popular thing
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as social media at that time. I do remember. So I had got a commercial agent, and from there I
Mhm.
just started like auditioning for different commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, I ended up getting my first theatrical agent in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this was around the time before Atlanta had blew up as far as like the industry or whatever. So it was kind of like a good time. And like this agency was brand new. They were talking about all of these projects. We're moving from LA and New York to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a good time for me. So I got in with that agency, and then I end up auditioning for a show called Atlanta, executive produced by Childish Gambino. So at the time when this show was coming out, I didn't never, I hadn't, I mean, I didn't even know what this was going to be. I was
Mhm.
kind of fairly new into the acting game and all of this. So I remember it was my first video submission.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I remember I was still living in Detroit. So I sent in the video audition, whenever, and I booked the role. So
Let's
then my
go.
so let me take you through the process. So my agent calls me. It was like, so they want to pin you. I'm like, pin? Like, what does that mean? So, like, pin? I'm like, what does that mean? No, they want to book you for the role.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. They were like, yeah. So you have a fitting tomorrow in Atlanta. I said, what?
Crazy.
I say, they was like, yeah, you have a fitting. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking for the cheapest flight
Yeah.
to fly out there for the fitting. So I had a fitting, and then it was like, okay, so then the next day you're gonna film. So
Mm.
I get to set, I get to my trailer. This is the first time I ever experienced something like this. I have a trailer with my name on it.
Yeah.
So I'm filling out the paperwork or whatever. And then like I have my own like little separate like crafty, like they brought to my trailer.
Oh,
And I
delivery
was
crafty is top tier.
So I'm like, okay, this is cool, whatever. So up until this point, I had only done like background as far as television, so I had never experienced what it was like to actually have a speaking role on a television show.
Mhm.
So, I'm excited. I'm videoing everything from my footage, just trying to enjoy the moment. So I remember when we actually get to set,
Mhm.
they actually we were filming off location from where like the base camp and everything was. So the
Yeah.
driver came, put me in the vehicle, whatever, and we drove over to location. Now, when we get over to location, there's like a bunch of extras already there. So when I get out the vehicle,
Mhm.
all the extras are looking at me like, "Who is this? Who is this?" So I'm like, "Oh wow!" So I'm walking through the extras, like I'm really feeling like, you know, I'm a star or whatever, if
Yeah.
you want to say.
Yeah.
So I'm walking through all the extras or whatever. Then I get up to the location,
Mhm.
and I had my own stand in.
Mm.
I was like,
He
oh,
looked just like you?
he did look like me. He was a little taller, but
Yeah.
he looked close to me. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Now, mind you, the role that I booked, it was only a one liner,
Mhm. Mhm.
but they're going through the whole, like they're treating me like I'm top of the show, whatever. So I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. So I had my own stand in, and then I remember Donald Glover walks over to me.
Oh.
Donald Glover, which is Childish Gambino, and then he was like, yo, he was like, look, I watched your audition tape. Me and the producers, we watched it over and over and over, and we could not stop laughing. He was like,
Yo.
this is Donald Glover talking to me.
Yeah.
So then he was like, all I want you to do is do the exact same thing you did on the tape. I was like, cool. So
Mhm.
the stand in is there. They're setting up the shots or whatever. So then I finally go in. I do it. He starts laughing. I can hear him laughing. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm feeling good about this. So he had me do it again. He told me maybe, I think we only did it maybe 3 times or whatever. So then after that, he walks up over to me. He was like, hey, I want to introduce you to my parents.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, cool. So he introduced me to his parents or whatever. And then he was like, I want to get your contact information. I want to use you again for something else.
Wow.
So then he puts his phone in my hand and he has it in the notes section. So when he puts his phone in my hand, all the other PAs just like circled around me. So I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, they trying to make sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I couldn't believe this because I never, known like a producer to be that up and close and personal with the
Yeah,
talent.
yeah,
Like he
yeah.
actually put his phone in my hand. So he put his phone in my hand. I put my contact information in there. He was like, you know, you do good work. I like you. I'm going to
Yeah.
follow up with you. So that was my first experience with actually booking a speaking role on a television show.
Wow.
And
Yo, that's fire. That is fire. Atlanta was the first one, right? And
yes,
what year was this again?
this was 2015. And I think it aired
2015.
in 16. Yeah.
16. And that was season one, Atlanta. Do you know, you remember what
Yeah, that's
show?
season 1, episode 7. It's called The
Season
Band, BAN. And that episode actually went on to win an Emmy Award for Best Writing.
And that I wonder if Gambino wrote on that. I got to look that up to see if he wrote on that as
He
well.
did. He was one of the writers. It was him and his brother.
Star, produced, and wrote it in it. That's what we grow to be when we're actors. It's like we start off just seeing how set works, stepping on set as background. And we're like, yo, okay, I see what the principals are doing. I want to do this. Then we move on to being a principal actor. And then we can't help but see what the director is doing, the producer, how cool producers are when we see them. We're like, oh, you're producing and starring in this show? And we grow and we really become even more versatile in our storytelling. That's awesome. So that is the first show. And again, that is Atlanta, season 1, episode 7. Now, walk us through Law and Order.
Okay. So fast forward. So Law and Order, at the time I was living in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got the breakdown for Law and Order, I'm like, I couldn't believe it. That was like one of the biggest. I mean, that's probably the longest running show,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in cinema right now. They like at
Yeah.
20 over 20 seasons. So
Right.
everybody knows Law and Order. So when I get the breakdown, I'm like, I really want to book this. Like, I really, 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 really want to book this.
Mm.
So I actually wanted to get some coaching, and the turnaround time was so fast. I didn't have enough time. So one of my friends helped me out with the audition. I'm forever grateful for her. So
Mm.
I filmed the audition.
Mm.
I sent it in. The next day, they replied back. It was like, you got the role.
Yeah, they
Like it went.
always. I was gonna say when they book, it seems like they always respond quickly.
Yeah. I'm noticing the things that
Yeah.
most times when I've booked something, it happened. The response time is fast.
Yeah, yeah. I've noticed the same exact thing.
Right. So mind you, remember I'm in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they want to have a fitting. Now, when I booked this was still during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, my agent told them that I was local. They didn't know that I lived in LA because
Yeah.
during this time, they were trying to really cast locals because of the whole COVID thing. Like you would have to quarantine, do this, do that. So production was under the impression that I lived in New York.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, so we scheduling you for a fitting tomorrow at noon. Now, mind you, West Coast time and East Coast time,
3 hours.
two, boom. So it's like I had to fly out literally, I had to catch a flight that night just so I would get there on time the next day. So that was a whole episode with that. So finally I get to set, and this is New York. You know, we outside. You know, this is Brooklyn. We not on no studio lot, nothing like that. We in the environment.
City.
It's loud, it's crazy. Life is still going on. They're just filming the show.
Mhm.
So I get to set or whatever, and we do the first take, and it was just too loud. They was like, "Ah, this is not gonna work." So they're moving fast. They're like, "Okay, we got to do this." So actors always be prepared. And another reason why you just want to be prepared is because at the end of the day, it's your work.
Mhm.
So when
Mhm.
it's rolling and whatever they get with whatever time they get, you know, nobody's going to care about the environment. They're going to judge what you did because there was a lot of moving parts and there was a lot of different things that could have threw me off, but I was prepared.
Mm.
So we only did one more take after that, and they had to keep it pushing.
How many takes did you get?
Two.
Yeah, yeah, boy. Yeah, yup, yup.
We only got two takes.
Mhm.
So we did the two takes or whatever. And that was a moment when I really felt like I'm gonna have success in this business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, because Law and Order is just one of those shows. Like, you know, it's for sure my biggest credit,
Yeah.
of course. Um, and I end up doing another episode, so I end up recurring on that season for multiple episodes. So that's a residual check that I like to see coming in. Law and Order.
Yeah. And Law and Order, is that streaming now? Do you know?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
So I was on Law and Order Organized Crime.
Yeah, that was on
Um,
TV.
yeah, season two. Yeah. So it's on. I mean, it aired on NBC, but I believe it is streaming now on Hulu.
That's awesome because now we get those residuals off streaming too. Residual off
Yeah.
streaming and now TV as well.
So what's crazy was the actual sides that they gave me was not what I end up performing when I got to set. So the size that they gave me was actually more lines than I did at set, but it was different. So that's another reason why you just gotta be prepared because I actually didn't get the actual size that I was going to be reading to after the fitting the night of, and I had to memorize those lines. So it was completely different. I'm showing up to New York knowing this. I get to New York, and then the night before I had to learn this. So the other question was, with such a quick turnaround, what prep did you do for your script? And also because of COVID, did you test or not? Yeah, I did have to test. I did have to test. Now, it's different. You know, working on the East Coast versus the West Coast is different. Like, I remember during COVID, like in California, like COVID protocols was taken a lot more serious than it was other parts of the country. A lot more serious. So when I got to New York, like they weren't wearing masks on set. Like, but I definitely did have to test. And as far as the prep, like I said, it was I didn't have no chance to really prep because the size that I was given in the audition wasn't what I actually got the night before when I got to set. When did I decide to become a full-time actor? Um, yeah, so to be honest with you, I'm still technically not a full-time actor. I got another gig, you know, so I'm still pursuing trying to make this full time. But after Atlanta did create a lot of momentum for my career, like I had a lot of other television bookings up until I got to Law and Order. But I'm still out here auditioning,
Mhm.
still out here trying to find that one gig, you know,
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
put me full time.
yeah. Even after we are on TV multiple times, the perception is
Hmm.
full-time actor. But once that season is over, then we're auditioning again for that next season. Even
Hmm.
when you have recurring actors on a TV show, if that season is not renewed, you're back auditioning.
Yeah. How do I memorize my lines? So for me, I like to read things out loud. For me, and I also like to stand up.
Hmm.
For some reason, when I stand up
Mhm.
and I read it out loud, I retain it more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that works for me. Are you still with the same agent? No, that agent actually went out of business.
Mm.
That agency in Atlanta. And that wasn't the same agency that had got me the Law and Order booking, but I actually love that agent. They actually went out of business. So that's what happened with that.
How is it working on a comedy as opposed to like a crime drama?
So with comedy, is there you really got to know your lines.
Mm.
Because with comedy everything is about timing and everything was written a certain way. So what I've learned about drama, some directors will allow you to maybe go off the script a little bit, but with comedy, word for word, they want you to say those lines word for word, and because comedy is all about timing.
Orval, do you have any last words of wisdom for us?
Yes, I will say this industry truly is a business. So, they call it show business. I'm gonna say it's 10% show, 90% the business. So the actors that I see that are working the most, they're good at the business part. And I'm also say this, being talent matters, but talent is not going to guarantee success. You have to, you're the this being an actor is a business of marketing. You're marketing yourself. So you need to figure out what your type is, what your brand is, and be able to market that better than anybody else. Because with any product, the most successful product is usually the product that is best marketed. Because there's other products that might be better than that, but if it's the promotion and the marketing is not there, nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to trust it. Nobody's going to buy it. So figure out your type, your brand, focus. I'm glad that y'all are in class and y'all are getting better, but you definitely want to study this business and figure out your brand and how to market yourself, and you'll see more success.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those amazing words of wisdom and stopping by and spending a little bit of time with us today. And we cannot
Absolutely.
wait to see you in the next show.